The hypocrisy of the United Kingdom government is not a revelation to the world. Time and again, the UK has adopted a holier than thou stance, dispensing unsolicited advice and moral sermons to other nations, all the while conveniently ignoring the shadows cast by its own murky past. From the colonial atrocities that shaped much of its imperial history to the Bengal famine, a catastrophe exacerbated by the colonial policies, to regime change operations and covert meddling in foreign governments. The UK's record is far from spotless. However, today our focus turns to a more contemporary example, the appeasement of Khalistani elements by the UK government, a policy that has not only undermined bilateral relations but has also highlighted glaring lapses in its responsibilities as a host nation under international law. On 19th March 2023, an incident unfolded in the heart of London that shocked and enraged India. Around 50 Khalistani extremists launched an attack on the Indian High Commission building. This mob, emboldened by a permissive environment, vandalized the premises and even desecrated the Indian flag, brazenly pulling it down. When an Indian staffer attempted to intervene, he was met with violence and sustained severe injuries during the ensuing commotion. Such an attack on a High Commission, a symbol of sovereignty and a vital channel for diplomatic relations, is tantamount to an attack on the nation it represents. The Indian government responded swiftly, lodging a strong protest and questioning the UK government's failure to provide adequate security at the High Commission. Shockingly, this was not an isolated incident. Merely 3 days later, on 22nd March 2023, Khalistani elements once again attacked the Indian High Commission. The repetition of such an event in such a short span raised serious questions about the UK's commitment to ensuring the safety of diplomatic missions within its boundaries. Even developing nations with far fewer resources have managed to uphold the sanctity of the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, which obligates host countries to protect foreign diplomatic missions. By failing to act decisively, the UK government displayed a concerning level of apathy. India did not take this lightly. A UK diplomat in New Delhi was summoned and reminded of the Vienna Convention, to which both nations are signatories. The convention clearly states that the host country must provide security to diplomatic missions and prevent any harm to their personnel or property. Yet, the UK government's response was little more than lip service, offering platitudes instead of concrete action. Nearly 2 years after the incident, no individual involved in the attacks has been identified or apprehended. Such inaction is inexcusable, especially from a country that prides itself on upholding the rule of law. The Khalistani movement, for context, is a separatist cause that finds little to no support within India. Propped up by Pakistan's intelligence agency, the ISI, the movement has survived through diaspora communities in countries like the UK and Canada, where it garners a semblance of visibility. Despite its minimal support base, the Khalistanis have a history of engaging in terrorist activities. The Kanishka bombing of 1985, which killed all 329 people aboard Air India Flight 182, remains a grim reminder of the group's violent tendencies. Their continued presence in the UK raises questions about the government's priorities and its apparent reluctance to confront such elements. The UK government's double standards become even starker when juxtaposed with its frequent rhetoric on human rights, freedom of expression, and democracy. In its dealings with other nations, the UK is quick to lecture on these principles. Yet, when Khalistani extremists disrupted screenings of the Indian actress Kangana Ranawat's movie Emergency across various cities in the UK, the government's inaction spoke volumes. These disruptions were not isolated incidents, but part of a coordinated effort to silence an Indian woman exercising her right to freedom of expression. For a nation that prides itself on being a bastion of free speech, this failure was both ironic and embarrassing. Further compounding the issue is the role of local authorities, particularly London Mayor Sadiq Khan. Known for his controversial stances, including his perceived leniency towards grooming gangs in the UK, Khan has faced criticism for his oversight of the London police. The lack of adequate security for the Indian High Commission and the failure to prevent repeated attacks under his jurisdiction reflect poorly on his administration. The appeasement of Khalistani elements by the UK government is a symptom of a deeper malaise. By turning a blind eye to their activities, the UK not only jeopardizes the diplomatic relations with India but also risks fostering an environment where extremist ideologies can flourish unchecked. The irony is not lost on observers who note the stark contrast between the UK's preachy stance on global issues and its inability to address pressing concerns within its own borders. As time marches on, the question remains: will the UK mend its ways and take decisive action against Khalistani terrorists, or will it continue to prioritize political expediency over principle? The world is watching, and so is India.